everybody on YouTube? I'm Will Knight, and I am joined here by the love. You know what? Introduce yourself because you're a big kid now.
I am. I'm older than you. Hi, I'm Kiri Sha. I'm new to this channel, but I'm not new to social medias.
Good. So where can they find you on all the social media stuff?
You can check me out on Instagram. The handle is Scribbling Shark Cosplays. On Facebook, it's a group page. Look up SAR Hitsuzen Alliance. That's spelled HITSUZEN. We'll put a link in the description so that you don't have to worry about spelling.
See the magic
There's
of being able to edit.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, she's joining me here today because we just checked out a familiar thing on net. Well, not necessarily. It's not familiar to me, but it's familiar to you.
It's familiar to me.
Yeah, I was about to say they hit you in your childhood.
I mean, something's familiar to me, but not that.
Oh gosh. Yeah, guys. So, what exactly happens when you have a beloved anime show that Japan has been? I don't know how long. How long has it been out?
I want to say off the top of my head about 10 years.
Oh, dang.
This is a guesstimate,
Jeez.
so don't burn me in the comments if I'm off by like a few years.
Gotcha. Okay, that's fair. So we got a guesstimated show that's been popular for about 10 years now or so.
Yeah.
And what happens when America takes one of Japan's most known or beloved shows and then decides they're going to do their own
live
reimagining
action. After there's already Japanese live actions.
You're right. It is a live action version of an anime in America. Do y'all see how this just sounds like a recipe for disaster here? Yeah, but that's what we got in Death Note. And I managed to join you on this ride and go through and some of the things. So what we're going to do now for you guys is we're going to run through it, just generally what we felt about it, and then give like a non-spoilerish review. And then we're going to go in and just spoil the heck out of it at the end. So that way we can just be like, all right, you got up until this point, and if you're still here, then clearly you want this to happen. Like, you want to be spoiled. There's no other way of doing it other than that.
And if you go past that point and you start complaining about spoilers, we've warned you like 5
I was about to say, the warning is here, and I'll warn you one other time before we get into it, because I can't hold her back for too long. Like, don't let that smile fool you. She can go in on anybody. So we've got Death Note here, and it's a well-known show for its character-driven plot. It's not necessarily that the story itself is what's compelling, it's how people are interacting with what's going on. That's the real compelling point. And you know what? A lot of people have been fans of it for, like you said, about 10 years. Yeah. So it only makes sense that eventually somebody would want to do some type of adaptation of it. The problem is they missed the like bare minimum point of what made it popular, in that the characters have to drive what's happening in a way that's interesting. Not necessarily one that makes sense, because I'm going to go ahead and tell you, Death Note don't make a lick of sense to you. But just hearing from you how the characters like decide and make their decisions and just go about living their lives with what's going on, that's actually pretty interesting. This, I got none of that.
It would probably make sense to you if it were actually the source material.
Oh, okay. All right, so, okay, got some low-key shade out here. I'm glad it's it looks sunny to you guys, but it's actually like about to rain soon, so I guess it's good for you. You channeling all that shade out here. Yeah, this movie, I'm going to be reviewing it from the point of a movie. She's going to be reviewing it as a point of a fan of, like, the actual material. I'm going to go ahead and say, this mess does not work. Like, everybody in the movie isn't necessarily a character as much as they are a caricature of, like, some emotional type. Like, you have very basic people doing very basic things. Nothing's exceptional about them. And it's not done in a way that makes them interesting. It's just kind of like, no, like, because they're not exceptional, I guess that's the best way to put it. Because they're not exceptional, when they do things that are just plainly stupid, I have to look at it and I'm just like, but no one would ever make this decision. Like, there's nothing about you that says you're above or below anything, because exceptional works both ways.
Yeah.
That you're not above or below the normal person. So you have to make decisions that a normal person would make. Like when you see an 8-foot tall monster come up out of nowhere that says he's gonna give you a book and you freak out about it, you don't get over it like 3 seconds later.
Either you run and tear and you have nothing to do with it, or you embrace it wholeheartedly. There's no middle ground here.
Like, no,
there's no switching sides.
Like, nobody gets afraid of like Freddy Krueger or Pennywise and then just all of a sudden decides you're gonna be my best. Like, no, you don't do that. Oh my god, the characters and their decisions just don't make sense in this movie, and it's really bad because the source is so good. But I just, what do you have to say about these characters? Like, I know that they're not as good.
They're not the characters.
Oh dang! I tried to throw them. Okay.
At least most of them, like Light is like the inverse, the photo negative of who he is in the manga. L is something.
Oh yeah.
Misa. What?
Oh yeah. Good old death host.
The closest is Ryuk. He's the closest to actually being what he is in the source material.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
So, gosh darn. I don't even...
Shade.
All of it right there. I guess then the second thing that really threw me off is there's no known passage of time except for when it's like very... Like, when it's very specific that certain, like, 2 days... The most that you'll ever figure out is like 2 days specifically pass. They will always... I don't know what their, like, thing is with the number 2, or if just, like, 48 hours is just, like, a great timetable to them.
I guess.
But here's the thing. When you work in, like, tandems of, like, 2 days... The thing is that you have to make every one of those 48 hours count. That does not happen. Like, quite literally, they will go, all right, we have to do ABC in 2 days. And then they'll go to bed and just be on C. And I'm just like, what the heck happened in the time? What were you doing?
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
They're telling, not showing.
Exactly. They're telling, not showing. And, like, if you're not going to have the character-driven story that you had with the source material, then you have to show me things so that I can feel them for myself. You cannot just tell me stuff is happening and then just be at the thing that's happening. Like, they have no... It doesn't... It's not a well-done story.
We're both throwing shade here.
Yeah, I'm calling it. I'm calling it how it is. Shoot, because I can't handle that. I was over here confused as mess. Why all of a sudden they were just sad one day, happy the next day. The next day would go by, and then all of a sudden somebody's angry, and then their relationship has hopscotched to just...
Those emotional arcs aren't really arcs, they're just sort of points.
Yep, it's kind of like they had like a checklist, and it's just like, all right, well, in a certain amount of time, we have to check off this emotion, and then we'll move on to the next one.
There's no pacing.
Yeah, there you go. See, she knows. This is why I have to keep her around, because she knows more. She keeps me sane. There's no pacing for the emotion, and so it just feels like things just happen. And that's not good. You can't just have a movie of things just happening. They have to cohesively bond and work together, build on each other, so that you have a foundation. That's a house being made here. I would do it with shadow puppets, but like, how would that work? Y'all wouldn't see them. And I know that sounds kind of nitpicky, but the thing is, passage of time is so important to the story that they're trying to tell, that I feel that if they're going to make it that important, that they'd have to do it better. Like, there's no, it's important to the story that you know this, and this is happening in this amount of time, so that you feel the impact of when it finally happens, and then just be like, well, you knew that it was happening in 48 hours. Let's just show you the last hour.
It's like if Inception never cut to the, what are they called, like the anchors? Or
yeah.
Their things. I don't know the ones at the top.
Yeah.
I only saw Inception once.
Hey, that's bad.
But it's like if Inception never showed you that. That's a key thing in the movie of keeping track of what's happening.
Yeah. There's no suspense. Like, no, you can't tell me the world is going to end in 5 minutes and then just skip to the point where it blows up. Like, no, I want to see everything that happens, what they choose to do.
Side by side with that countdown clock.
Yeah, because that's what builds the characters, and that's what builds the story. Dang, it got bright out here.
Yeah, it's raining at the same time, too.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
So, those are my two biggest issues with it. The characters and the pacing just doesn't feel right. I don't get enough suspense, and I don't get a lot of impact from the characters. Those are my two big things. But see, the thing is, they do them so often that's what really gets me. Like, if you did this once or twice, maybe I could forgive you and let you go.
One butchered character, okay.
Oh, well,
maybe.
yeah.
But all of them?
It's not allowed. It's not allowed,
It's not
guys.
allowed,
You
no.
can't do this.
And if your one had been out, that also wouldn't have been allowed.
Oh, gosh. So, I don't know. If we had to give this, like, just a general rating for the non-spoiler people.
It's so just a general, the scales.
Oh, right.
What was two?
Right, you're new here.
I am new here.
So we'll go through. We've got like a must-see, immediate things that you got to go out, and then you have an on deck, which is like, okay, that'll be the next thing, but I'm gonna finish up whatever I'm doing first. You got your watch list, which is literally just the Netflix queue. Then you have mood pieces where everything is just like, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and just get in the feel of what this show is first, and this one like caters to that a lot. And then we have a crap fest, which are those that shall not be named.
So yeah, it's somewhere between a crap fest and a mood piece. With the if it's more towards the mood piece being you want a train wreck or something that you're just sitting down to tear apart.
I got you. And I'd have to say that it's a mood. As somebody, I will go ahead and go out on a limb and say, there are not many animes that I will go out and say are above like a mood piece or a watch list for me. Not in the sense that I don't think they're good, but when I go into them, I already know what I want. And I'm hoping for the best that it hits that. This is like a complete opposite end of the spectrum mood piece, of where I'm just like, all right, this is what filler anime is, where I'm just like, okay, this is just playing so that I have some background noise. But I care nothing about what's happening until I see like one or two cool things, and there are some nice shots.
Yeah.
I'll say that it's shot well.
Yeah.
Not like that I'd have nothing to look forward to, but it's just most of it isn't. So I have to agree. It's somewhere in between a mood piece and a crap fest. It's definitely not one of the worst things I've seen, especially on Netflix. Guys, don't look up bad things to watch on Netflix. You'll hurt your soul. There's a lot of badness.
Yeah.
But now we get to the part that you're ready for, and all the glory that it has. I'm gonna let you, for however many long, probably like for the next at least 4 minutes, run through everything that you didn't like about the season. Spoiler warning for the last time.
Spoilers.
This is the point. You already have our review. If you want to go past this, then clearly you want to hear her just go crazy.
This is the point where it gets wrecked.
So here we go. I'm gonna pass the mic to her and just let her do the thing, because she's the one that likes this stuff.
So I think I'll run through like the characters and then a couple other things past that. But characters is a good point to start. Get me rolling.
Okay.
So let's start with Light's dad. So at the start of the movie, it is established that Light's dad, being police chief of the area, he's not a hard nose, but he's got he's got justice. He stands for justice. And he's not going to stand for injustice in his family from his son. Like, his son gets caught aiding and abetting with cheating, and he's like, not okay. Fast forward through a movie where his son kills over 400 people. Not all of them are criminals. At the very end, it's like, oh, so you were the killer all along. How did you get out of it at the end when we had you cornered? It's matter of fact. It's deadpan. It's he's somehow okay with this? What the heck? Like, after that whole, I'm gonna have a talk with my son at the dinner table about how I better not hear about him aiding and abetting cheating ever again. And now, after he's killed over 400 people, there's not even any kind of, like, emotional breakdown, no screaming and shouting, no anger, no nothing. Just, so how'd you get out of it? How'd you get away? Not even like, okay, I'm happy that you're alive because you're my son, but hey, you're also a killer and I'm also the police chief. I might have to arrest you. None of this. It was just straight to this whole reconciliation thing, which doesn't even happen in the source material. Like, his dad dies thinking that his son is innocent, knowing that his son's been accused, but believing his son to be innocent. There's no reconciliation. There's no finding out, no confirmation of Light is Kira. None of it. So, no. Moving on from his dad, let's go on to Ryuk, who I think is the most in character.
Yeah.
He's fairly... In this movie, the Netflix one, he's fairly manipulative and pushing Light towards what he does, which is not how he is in the source material, but I feel given how Light is, which I'll get to, it's necessary to drive things forward. Like, manga, anime, Ryuk definitely has it in him to be a manipulative little punk. Because literally everything that he does in the series is just because he's bored. So he absolutely has it in him to just be like, oh, hey, you should, like, go do this. Or, like, you've got this power. Like, why aren't you doing anything with it? Because he's bored. He wants the humans to entertain him. But he doesn't because he's also lazy. He doesn't want to put in that much effort for his entertainment. No. Not happening. So... I feel like he's the most in character, and the things that are different are only really different because of how they changed everybody else.
Okay.
And on that note, let's segue into Light. So, this narcissistic sociopath became a wuss. So
that's a good way of describing him, yeah.
This narcissistic sociopath turned into a wuss, who somehow then still kind of became a narcissistic sociopath, but only like
the bare minimum.
Bare minimum, and only like 25% of the time. So manga. Light finds this book on the ground labeled Death Note, and it's got this whole thing of whoever's name is written in this book in a certain amount of time, they will die of a heart attack, da-da-da-da-da. I was like, oh, well, this is interesting. Let me just science the crap out of this and figure out how it works and exactly how the full extent of its power. There was no Ryuk like, hey, you've got the Death Note, you're the keeper now, what could you do with this power? You could change for good. No. It's like, oh, hey, look at this criminal on the news. Oh, this is supposed to kill people if I write their name in it and have their face in my mind. Okay, cool, they're dead. Let's just go from here. He doesn't set out to set himself up as a god, which is like the most narcissistic that Netflix Light is. Is he's like, oh, I have this power, I will set myself up as a god. No. The masses take him as a god, and he runs with it. They give him the nickname Kira, and he's like, cool. I am Kira. I am God. I run everything. I hold the power of life and death. I define justice. Narcissistic sociopath. He also has absolutely no attack of conscience at any point throughout the manga.
Gotcha.
Right up until the end, he believes that he is doing what is best, what is right, that he will somehow manage to get out of it, even when they've got him like completely cornered. It's like, I can still figure a way out. Like, he's sweating, but there's no moment of maybe I should ditch the Death Note and run or anything like that. None. Let alone, like, I think there were 2, 3 over the Netflix movie.
Yeah.
Moments where he was like, maybe I should just ditch this and get out.
Yeah, like where he wanted to quit.
Yeah. So, whereas in the Netflix movie, it's Ryuk is a puppeteer for Light and kind of gets Light into this whole crap fest. Light walks right into it and orchestrates all of it himself of his own volition, and the only part that Ryuk plays is a casual observer who's basically eating apples instead of popcorn, and if he's asked questions, he'll answer them.
Gotcha. Alright. You got a little bit of time.
Got a little bit of time. So, Misa, I'll try and cover real quick. She's cray-cray. She's a different kind of crazy in the movie, where it's just sort of
she's a hoe in the movie. That's the best way to... She gets turned up. She is like a necrophiliac hoe in the movie.
Who turns into, like, also partially power hungry at the end, where it's like, oh, you're not going to kill people and enact justice? I'm gonna do it for you. But yeah, they are actually, like, dating and stuff and sleeping together in the Netflix movie. Whereas, source material, there's none of that. Misa to Light is literally just a tool, and Light to Misa is God. She is a diehard cult fanatic who knew of Kira before she met Light, and met Light because she was trying to find Kira. And when she figured out that they were one and the same, was like, I'm gonna help you any way I can. And quite literally will do anything that Light asks her to. There is, in fact, a point in the manga where she's completely tied up, like, full-on leather bondage with the, like, strapped to a table with the eye mask and everything for a few days because he asked her to help subvert suspicion from being on him. Cray-cray. She definitely was not crazy enough in this movie. She was way too sane. She had her crazy things and quirks, but she was not crazy. And then the piece de resistance.
Oh, shoot.
L. My boy in this series. This is the point where we're going to put up the side-by-side comparison of source material, Netflix, and what they did. Do you want to jump in here real quick? Because I know...
Oh, I mean, sure. Like, based off how you described it to me, I was just like, okay, well, I mean, they're trying. He's got some mannerisms and stuff. Like, he's out here trying to do stuff like a detective would. Maybe things will be okay with this character. And I'm just seeing you just, like, shaking your head. My
first reaction when he showed up, I was like, no.
Like, you're just trying to get him off the screen. I'm just like, why? Why is it so hard? Y'all ready for this? Here's the side-by-side that she was talking about right here. One of these things is not like the other. I don't even understand how, unless clearly, the only thing that I can say is they clearly didn't like this character and they wanted him to be portrayed as the opposite of everything that you have told me about. Because down to his physical appearance, he is the complete opposite. It doesn't even make sense. Like, it's like they didn't even try. Like, okay. I can say maybe the actor that played him was like the best they could get and the closest. But like
that's sad.
That is a stretch. That's a stretch in like unbelievable bounds. He is quite literally the 180 degree reverse.
A physical photo negative here.
Yeah, it's crazy how how different they were. When you pulled up the picture of what he looked like while we were watching this, I was blown away. I was like, where is he? He's not even remotely in.
So to springboard off of that, you can see the physical dissimilarities for yourself. I'm not even going to touch that. But aside from that, personality-wise, he was a very, very different character. Like, the way I perceived him in the source material was whenever he was, like, spewing out facts, people like, we figured out that Kira's in this area, and I've narrowed it down to, like, this list of suspects, and I'm, like, this percentage sure that it's actually Light. It was, this is old news. I figured it out, this is old news, but you're behind, so I'm kind of catching up, but I'm actually working on this. Like, it's old news, I'm distracted, because I'm actually focused on figuring all of this out while I'm explaining this to you. It's not, like, focus, this is important information, this is, like the current state of the case, you need to know this. You're still going to be behind the curve once you get all of this. Not in a negative way, just sort of he's ahead of everyone else and he's focused on that. He's off in his own world. And, like, they did have some of the mannerisms every once in a while, like, they, like, popped up once in a while, but it wasn't a consistent thing. He was also way, way too emotional for this character. Like, Elle doesn't get super emotional. I think there might be one or two times when he gets a little bit, but not like huge emotional breakdowns, like I'm shaking out because there's so much emotion right now.
Gotcha.
None of that. None of it. Yeah, that wasn't Elle. I'm salty. There's salt for days.
Sorry.
That, which I think that wraps the characters. So there were two other things I was going to hit on. One was that's not how the Death Note works. I was super salty about this too. In the movie, it's portrayed as there is the keeper of the Death Note, and there is a human who is supposed to be in possession of the Death Note at any given time, and it's their job to, like, I guess, write names in the Death Note or something. I wasn't 100% clear on what the keeper was supposed to do, just that there had to be a keeper of the Death Note. No. The Death Notes are the property of the Shinigami. The only reason there was one in the human world is because Ryuk was born. He dropped it there for lols. That's it. There's no keeper nonsense. Also, anyone who touches it can see a Shinigami. Not just the keeper. Literally anyone. Misa can see it because she's got her own Death Note.
And that's important because you said that it plays into, like, the actual story.
Yes, there's at least one or two moments where Light will, like, take a piece of the Death Note, like a piece of a page, and have someone touch it so that they can see the Shinigami. Not necessarily, like, bring him into the inner circle or anything, but to use their reactions and their freakouts and stuff to his advantage. It's all one giant scheme.
Gotcha.
But yeah, anyone who touches the Death Note can see the Shinigami. And the other thing I was going to hit on was the cat and mouse games. That was really what made the series so good. Mm-hmm. Because Light is the son of the police chief for the Kanto region, which is, you know, where he lives.
Right.
Elle narrows it down, like, he set some sort of trap or something where he manages to narrow it down to the Kanto region is where Kira is operating out of. And he comes in and he starts working in tandem with the police chief to set up an anti-Kira task force. And Light, who is also in college, not high school, he's a college student at this point, gets onto that task force and starts helping out. But Elle hovers between like 75% and 98% sure that Light is Kira, and so the entire time it's this whole cat and mouse game of Elle trying to trap Light and Light having to orchestrate these ridiculous, grandiose, intricate schemes, planning like 5, 6, 7 steps ahead to escape the trap and subvert suspicion. Mm-hmm. So that Elle is trying to trap him all the way up until the point that, spoiler alert for the manga, he dies. And like it's finally confirmed when he dies because Light finally managed to get the upper hand and work out a scheme where he could kill Elle. There was none of that. None. Elle walks up to Leia and is like, "You're Kira. I'm 100% sure." And after that, it's just him hounding him. There was no cat and mouse game at all.
Yeah, it went from cat and mouse to being more Deus Ex Machina, where it's just like, okay, well, I already know.
Now I just gotta get you.
Yeah, I was like, literally, I'm just waiting until you mess up. That's it.
Yeah.
Which is so boring.
Yeah.
Which is so boring.
Yeah. And, like, the point when the manga, for me, when I lost interest and a lot of other people lost interest, was after Elle died, because there was no more of that cat and mouse game.
Right.
So, you know, the heart of what made the series good wasn't in the movie.
And that's the main point that we're trying to get across to you guys, people. Like, I know some of you guys are probably gonna say, "Oh, well, it's an adaptation. It's taking the things that they liked and making it into a movie." The thing is, when you have an adaptation, you have to take the things that ultimately were put into the recipe of the thing that you're trying to adapt and broadcast them in not necessarily the same way, but similar enough ways so that people can follow the story like how you followed the story. It's not necessarily to say, I'm going to make a carbon copy of this in live action, but it is to say that all of those pieces were important to you and how you felt. So you have to use those pieces to get it across to somebody else, not wipe the board.
You can't make an apple pie and throw in, like, strawberries, raspberries, blueberries, and, like, half of an apple and be like, there's some apple still in here. It's an apple pie. No. That's like a mixed fruit pie or some crap. Not an apple pie.
In that point, what you do is you make your own thing and say that it was inspired by.
Not an adaptation of.
Because no, what people are going to look for in an adaptation is the source.
They're going to look for apples in your apple pie.
Oh, gosh. I'm not saying... So, that's why we did it this way. I'm just reviewing it in terms of, in general, a movie. She's reviewing it as an avid fan. And the thing is, like, sadly, it just so happens that we came to, like, the same conclusion on both ends. But, guys, it's really not, like, there are other adaptations and things that I like. Spider-Man Homecoming being one of the
it's a good
one of the
adaptation.
things.
Yeah.
Wonder Woman being another adaptation that I'm just like, okay, yeah. And
yeah.
you can't tell me that those things aren't different than how, like, other things started or with them. Because if you, we gonna have a day. But
that's a whole other thing.
Yeah. But those things can work if you adapt them properly and stay true to the nature of the pieces.
Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings.
There you go. Actually, Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit is like a really good example of like how one really works and the other one is like...
Lord of the Rings more so than The Hobbit, yes.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean on like the opposite ends of things. Like one where you're looking at the piece and just like, okay, how do I adapt this to a film? And then the other one where it's just like, I like the soul of this, so I'm gonna make it in here. And then you look at it and it's just like, I guess I know what you're going for, but that's not it. It's one of those, that's not it. It just so happens that it's also a good, not a good, that's not it either. So that's what we gotta say. It's a mood PC film. I can't say that it's necessarily a crap fest. I didn't come out angry. It didn't take necessarily time away, but it was a chore to get through. I ain't gonna lie. We could have done so many other things while watching this and still got the story.
Yeah.
So that's what we have to say to it. Anything else that you want to wrap up?
I mean, it's a mood piece. Go into it. Basically, it's a mood piece if you want to wreck something. If you want to wreck it. Yeah.
You guys need a crappy movie to watch.
Yeah.
If you're into that on date night. I don't know. If you're getting, I don't know girls that would just go out of their way to watch this because there'd be guys. I know some guys would do something like that where they just want to try. I don't know if a girl would just sit up in there and watch. Man, you want to know? I don't know what's good on Netflix tonight. I think I'm gonna watch Death Note. That seems so interesting. Looking at Willem Dafoe dressed up as Ryu.
He was a good Ryuk. I think the Japanese live action did it better.
That's
So-
almost not fair, though. Like, in all honesty, that's almost not fair. That'd be like another, if Japan did a Captain America movie. Like, I don't think they could do it better than how we could. Like,
No. The Japanese live action I thought was better.
yeah, no, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, because it's still in-house.
Okay, yeah, okay, gotcha.
So, like...
Fair.
There's a puppy running around here. Oh, well.
What?
There's a puppy just running around.
Oh, dang.
Off. Okay. I saw him in the mirror and I was like, what?
I hope that, that's...
I don't know. I might just go run and get me a puppy. No, I like dogs. I ain't gonna tell you. Thank you guys so much for watching. This has been a lot of fun. If you could, please leave a like and a comment down below telling me how you felt about this. There is a dislike button, so you can hit that. Don't feel bad about it. Just realize that, I will question you.
Your opinion has been duly noted and
We'll work with it.
disregarded.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. Gosh, subscribe to the channel so that you can become an agent in the PlusU Brigade and help light the fuse on content you want to see. Check out my lovely friend on all her social media sites. Hopefully we can get her back. Y'all have to say that you want her back, though. None of this just liking and not saying stuff. You got to tell her how amazing she is so that I can coerce her into coming back here against her. Along with it's in general with her. Like, it's got to work in tandem, guys. It's gotta work. But this has been a lot of fun. I will leave all your stuff in the description.
Cool.
I'll also kind of like flash it like right now. Like it should just be like somewhere along
Floating.
here-ish somewhere or something like that. So it should be there for them just in case they don't, want to work and scroll down. I don't see why you wouldn't, but
But if you want it to be super, super easy, click somewhere around here. Follow me.
yes, there we go. And we will see you all sometime in the future.
Bye, guys.
Hey everyone, thank you all for watching. This has been a fun little bit just getting started on YouTube and anything. Thank you guys so much for supporting us. It's been a lot of fun trying to bolster ourselves up in the YouTubeverse. We love all of the comments we get, positive and negative. Even the negative ones are kind of fun to try and think of creative stuff to say. So we appreciate you guys so much. If you could, please leave a like and a comment down below so that you can give us some type of feedback and some things that we can do in our next video. And check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at PlusU Fuse or PlusU Productions so that you can help light the fuse on content you want to see.